To talk about what is going on in Mexico and exactly how this is eerily similar to the Shanquella Robinson case. Now, let's talk about it. 4 American tourists were kidnapped, they were held, half of them are not even coming back. They went for something that many Americans look at as a cheat code to actually getting affordable medical services, medical care, or medicine. We're going to talk about that. But we're also going to talk about how the Mexico government keeps failing American citizens again and again and again, especially when you consider what a big percentage of their economy comes from Mexican tourists. Now, let's get into the story, and then we're going to talk about the eerie similarities that happened between the Shanquella Robinson case. Mainly, that when all this carnage did happen, when this catastrophe happened, the Mexico government was quick to put out a BS explanation to explain why they were put in harm's way that had nothing to do with the truth, was not anchored with the truth, and how the Mexico government and the U.S. government is doing less than anything to make sure that the people are held accountable. You guys, let's get into this. They say the Americans were kidnapped after gunmen opened fire on their vehicle in Matamoros, a border city in northern Mexico. This is a direct statement from the FBI. All 4 people had driven from Brownsville, Texas to Mexico on Friday in a white minivan with North Carolina license plates. If you don't know, Shanquella Robinson is also from North Carolina. It's an eerie coincidence, but it is a coincidence, okay? Mexico President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador said Monday that the 4 Americans had crossed the border to purchase medicine and found themselves caught in a crossfire between 2 groups of armed individuals. Now, this is a PR statement because when it first happened, they said that they were taken into custody by, we're guessing, cartel or whatnot, warring factions, because they thought that they were Haitian drug dealers. They thought that they were Haitian drug dealers, so they took them hostage. You guys, the fact that Americans are openly vacationing and going for medical services, going for medicine at a place where just the color of your skin will get you surrounded, hemmed up, and ultimately deleted is wild in my mind. The fact that we need to talk about Mexico's unconscious bias. If you had saw 4 white people in a caravan, 4 Mexican Americans in a caravan, 4 Asian people in a caravan, would you have felt so comfortable and easy to surround them and literally kidnap them? You guys, this is huge. Get this. They said, oh, it's because they location. How is that an excuse because they location? How? And this was an official statement from the government. Let's get into this. Their car was hit by gunshots soon after the group crossed the border in Matamoros, the FBI San Antonio Division Office reported in a statement issued on Sunday. All 4 Americans were placed in the vehicle and taken from the scene by armed men. At the time, the FBI announced a $50,000 reward in exchange for the victim's return, as well as the kidnapper's arrest. A video posted on Twitter on Friday raised national concerns as it appeared to show the moment the Americans were kidnapped, okay? In the video, a woman is seen walking alone before being forced into a white pickup truck. Men armed with guns and wearing bulletproof vests then appeared to force several others into the vehicle. At least 2 of the victims were seen being dragged across pavement toward the truck. This happened in broad daylight. This was an American license plate. You heard their accents. You knew they were American. You knew they weren't Haitian. And okay, true, there's Haitian Americans. But my whole point is, I'm sure they were explaining it. And it's turning into a lawless land. And the fact that America is not putting up stricter travel warnings, and the fact that the Mexico government is not doing enough to protect tourism. Now, why were they going down there? Listen, because they were. As it happened, one of the girls had a cosmetic surgery procedure scheduled in Mexico. As you know, medical costs in Mexico are much cheaper than America. Okay, she was having cosmetic surgery. The others were going down with her saying, well, we'll have a cute little vacation. And it went horribly wrong. You crossed the U.S. border, Again, let's get into this. On Monday, the U.S. ambassador to Mexico, Ken Salazar, said in a statement that the Americans were violently kidnapped at gunpoint, that the U.S. agencies were coordinating with their counterparts in Mexico to recover the missing people. President Joe Biden was briefed on the situation. The White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, said on Monday in a Monday news conference, these sorts of attacks are unacceptable. Our thoughts are with the families of these individuals, and we stand ready to provide appropriate consular assistance. So what happened? You had the American president look into it. The White House commented on it. The director of the FBI put out a thing. And what happened to these people, sadly, 2 of them lost their lives. The fact that in Mexico, whoever these factions are so powerful that they spit in the face of our president. Now, I'm not going in there being like, yeah, America, big and bad, bow down. No, here's what I'm saying. If they spit in the face of the people that run our country, what do you think they're doing to you as an idle tourist? Where do you think you rank? You are not Kamala Harris. You are not Joe Biden. And you sure are not Ken Salazar, the director of FBI. Where do you think you rank? 2 of the 4 U.S. citizens who went missing after the violent kidnapping in Mexico last week have been found deceased. 2 are alive, but 1 of them has severe injuries. We do not even know what happened to the women or men, whether they were abused, violated, who knows what. They looked at these people as disposable. They did not care. 2 of them were found gone. 1 of the surviving U.S. citizens was wounded and the other was not. Federal and state officials escorted the 2 surviving Americans to an international bridge at the U.S.-Mexico border. The Attorney General of Tamaulipas confirmed. Earlier, the Office of the Attorney General in Tamaulipas, where the Americans disappeared on Friday, announced on Facebook that all 4 citizens have been found. Interesting enough, you said they were all 4 found, and then the next day, 2 of them were gone. They said investigation and intelligence work continues to capture those responsible. The group of Americans were found as a result of joint search operations, according to the Attorney General, but how officials ultimately located and rescued them remain unclear. Of the 4, 2 of them are dead, 1 person is wounded, and the other one is alive. And right now, the ambulances and the rest of the security personnel are going for them to give their corresponding support. The government did not dare to share any details about where or how they were found and the nature of the wounded Americans' injuries. CBS News has learned that the kidnapped Americans are Latavia, Tay McKee, Shaid Woodward, Eric James Williams, and Zendel Brown. Mexico officials have not released any information about who died and who survived. You guys, a convoy of ambulances and SUVs transported the survivors to a section of the U.S.-Mexico border near Brownsville later on Tuesday. The AP reported whether the bodies of the deceased individuals were transported along with them is not known. The AP journalist reported that the group of vehicles seeing a group of vehicles speeding down a long dirt road toward their destination, accompanied by Mexican military Humvees, armored vehicles, state police, and National Guard troops. Mounted on the trucks were 50 caliber machine guns. U.S. Attorney Merrick Garland did not confirm the deaths, but said Tuesday that senior officials at the Department of Justice are working with multiple federal agencies in the U.S. as well as authorities in Mexico. Again, he said, during this difficult time, I want to offer my deepest sympathies to the families of the Americans who were attacked and kidnapped. Officials previously said a Mexican woman also died in Friday's crossfire. Her identity was not known. So let's look at this. You make an appointment. You enter in. You go past border control. You think you have some protection because you're American. And if anything happens, your embassy will swoop in. But what do you do when, again, 2 Americans and 1 innocent bystander, who I believe is a Mexican national, all died? When it first happened, they said, oh, they thought they were Haitian drug runners. And they were willing to sweep it under the rug. As the facts came out, they were not. In fact, they were innocent people that literally were just trying to get a cosmetic procedure done and enjoy themselves on holiday. The girl thought she had everything figured out. She didn't go alone. She went with 2 or 3 guys to protect her, right? Have a little vacation, have some fun, and it turned deadly. Now, why is this analogous to Shanquella? Because even when Shanquella was in an enclave of wealth that everybody across the world knows, it wasn't, yes, her friends are the ones that did her in. Again, this is what I assume based off the facts, right? We'll wait for the court of law, right? My whole point of the matter is she thought she was protected because if anything happens to me, I have my embassy, the government will step in. It's not going to go down like that. They're going to know. They knew our government wanted these people returned alive, and they still spit in our government's face. How do you think you're protected? The fact that the Mexico government released statements, oh, it was Haitian, right? Even on that, on the surface, is so offensive because you assume someone is Haitian nationals or Haitian Americans are not allowed to Mexico because when you look at them, you assume they're doing bad things. You assume they're disposable people. The cartel, who at this point looks like it runs Mexico. I mean, outright run. They are not afraid of anyone, and everybody is on their clock. Feels entitled and emboldened. They don't care. And what's our government's recourse? You brought back thoughts and prayers. What? A nice funeral? You're buried with the flag? F that. The fact is, Mexico is no longer safe to travel to until things get under control. Whether it's our government doing something or whether it's the Mexico government and stepping up. Did you see? Shanquella Robinson, Black woman, passed away. BS story given. Oh, it was alcohol poisoning. Everybody believed it, except for the people that cared about her, except for the people that said, hey, she's not disposable. What's going on? What happened? Can somebody explain? The fact that we have it on tape and the officials are scrambling to hold somebody responsible. And let's see if they actually get the people, or if it's going to be just a couple of toy soldiers and it's business as usual. Why? We need to ask a few questions. What is going on in Mexico? Seems to be lawless. The powers that be seem to be, I don't know. The American government seems to have no reach or pull. Now, you can argue whether they don't care. You can argue about whether they can't do anything. But the American government seems to have no reach and no pull. So you're basically out there on your own dealing with internalized thoughts of Black people. And these people can treat you and do what they want to you based off of what they think you're worth. And your government doesn't have any recourse except to transfer your body out in a body bag or escort your wounded body over the border. And that's it, right? No recourse, no diplomatic sanctions, no cutting of economic ties, not even saying we are going to keep our citizens safe and shut down. We're not going to let any of our citizens vacation in Mexico until you get that stuff locked down. Nothing. Disposable. Easy breezy, right? Easy breezy. So at what point are we going to have to take responsibility for ourselves and ask ourselves, is that vacation worth it? There is Puerto Rico. There is Jamaica. There are plenty of people. I would say DR, but DR is going crazy on anyone that looks like they are Haitian descent. Don't give them any of your tourist dollars, because Google DR and treatment of Black people in DR and what they're doing. They've been accused of basically doing a modern day cleansing. They want everything white, bright, right? As close as they can get in to Spaniards, not all of them, but please do your reading on it and decide if you want to give them your tourist dollars. But aside from that, let's look at the Mexico thing. You are not protected when you go down there. And when things go left, you're at the mercy of the people rolling up on you on a public street, kicking the door and waving the 4-4. 2 American citizens, 1 innocent woman, a woman who's a Mexican national, probably had family, kids, who knows? But even if she didn't have kids, she had somebody that loved her. 3 people gone like that. No recourse. Again, Mexico is a problem. I've heard people say, oh my God, it's not Mexico with Shanquella. If you don't know about the Shanquella Robinson, it's not Mexico with Shanquella. It's the American government. Let me tell y'all something. Stop playing games. Stop playing games and stop believing this BS that people tell you. Mexico knows that femicide is not a charge recognized in America. Mexico, this is international. This is not their first rodeo. Mexico can change the charges like that to get it pushed through. Mexico did the bare minimum, kicked it over to the US, and then said they haven't kicked the ball back. What is taking so long? Because those femicide charges are taking a while to push through because it's not recognized for expedition. Mexico could be doing more. Mexico is doing the least. And what does the femicide charges with Shanquella Robinson have to do with the nurse, the 2 police officers, and the official that also were a part of the alleged cover-up with Shanquella? Where's their charges? Where's their whole thing to justice? Again, when I say Mexico, I'm not talking about the people. Sure, there's a lot of course there is, beautiful hearts and souls that live in Mexico, just like there's beautiful hearts and souls that live in America. But when you're talking about something like police brutality, when you're talking about something that the powers that be are acting in a cold manner, like they do not care, and your thing, we're not talking about the people. We're talking about a country that right now seems to offer little to no protections to Black Americans, little to no protections to any Americans. And our government either can or won't do anything. We can deal with our government. We can shame them. We can march. We can vote. Get them up out of there. Don't forget, an election year is coming up. We can force our government to get a new attitude. But the one thing we can't do is make Mexico act the way it should. You guys, let me know what you think in the comments. This has me boiling mad. Thoughts and prayers to the 3 people that lost their lives. Thoughts and prayers to the 2 people that are back home living with the pain of regret, trauma. Who knows what happened to them? Honestly, it's time for our government to make a stand. But until they do, you need to ask yourself, is that vacation worth it? Y'all, let me know what you think in the comments, and I will talk to you later. Bye.